All right. What we have on the screen right now is we have a team. If you look down at the very bottom, you see Mr. Kurt Carlson. He is our leader and mentor, team captain, coach, whatever you want to call him, from Buckley Air Force Base, Silverado Patrol.
Hey guys.
Is our
Nice. Wow. Hey guys. Well, this is our small team. Two of them aren't here yet. It is a very early Saturday morning here, so they're still on their way to base. And we are actually on a guard weekend, so there's limited parking outside, so we may be a little late. So this is our small team here. Hey guys.
Morning, guys. How are y'all?
And one more over here. So we do have a middle school team and a high school team that we will be fielding. So, and Miguel, our team captain, just showed up. So,
all right.
I had a license.
Well, welcome. We're now live broadcasting on YouTube, and one of these are going to be after the session is done. We're going to talk until about a little over the next hour. And I'm going to introduce you to Windows 7, the operating system, and how we're going to secure it. Okay. Now remember, Allie talked about these little golf balls here, or soccer balls. Don't throw them at me, please. Not yet. You can do it after lunch when you're in competition round, when you get mad and upset that you can't figure out one of the 40 different items that you're going to have to figure out. Now, here's the hint. In Cyber Patriot, you are allowed to use any open source practical tool, such as like Microsoft-based Security Baseline Analyzer. You can use malware, spyware bytes, all those. Yes, ma'am?
Is this Cyber Patriot?
It is.
Do you have to register to be here, or
just come on in and have a seat. And
come on in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, everybody.
Just come on, get you.
What ages? Because we have
middle school through high school.
Okay.
Come on in. Hey, Sean, go get Johnny and have him stop him and get up the pizza number.
Okay.
And do we have so many extra chairs there in the back, or? Okay, if you want to get a couple of the chairs that are around the area, there's a chair up here, one up here, and for the coaches, if y'all want, you can go back in the back room. There's some other chairs back in there as well.
Sorry to disrupt everybody.
Oh, not a problem. We hadn't even just really got started yet.
All right, thank you.
Jaden, Rose State College. And Amherst? There you go. Oh, see, I can't throw either. How you doing this morning, bud? Doing good? All righty. You need one more chair? I'm sorry about this, Kurt. We're just trying to get more space up here.
Hey, no problem.
I got some more chairs over here.
You guys sit by the computer, Josh, you don't have.
We have some chairs right across the hall here too if you need some. All righty. For those of you who haven't had me or know me, I'm Professor Scott Stokely. I am a cybersecurity instructor here at Rose State. I also teach a lot of the networking core classes. So, pardon me, I had a head cold all last week and I'm still trying to get over it. Cyber Patriot is a competition between middle school, high school, ROTC, CAPS, and Open Division teams. Okay? It allows you to understand what an operating system is and how to secure it to keep your information secure. Now, how many of you, slightly raise your hand, if your parents are here, don't raise your hand. How many of you like messing with your parents? See, it's not just your daughters and sons that are in here, okay? Cyber Patriot will teach you how to secure the system, but in which in some of those you can actually affect how your parents operate their computer too. So you got to be careful with what you do. Our goal here is to teach you practical security applications that you can implement and find these and fix these problems on operating systems that the Air Force Association sends you for their competition. All right. For this first week or two, we're going to focus on desktop operating systems. Like today, I'm going to cover Windows 7. Kurt, were you able to get your machines up now? Yes, you can't hear me. Kurt, could you? Are you seeing your VMs now? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. What I'm going to do, first things first, you're going to go into what we call vSphere. vSphere is a program that is on your desktop, but you can't get into it yet, can you? Because you can't log in.
Okay.
You have to be very careful with this login here, and this is specific to Rose State. Now, Kurt, your team may have a little different logins. Your login here is going to be cpatriot, and then password is password 1, just like that. The C and that P are capitalized. Now, do not, if you mess up, stop. Once you mess up, don't go any further. Let everyone else log in, because the second someone locks this out, it locks it out for all of you. Okay, so be very careful how you type this in. Okay. What you're going to do?
vCenter on it? Yeah. Not yet.
How many of y'all are y'all in your system now? No. What did I just say? Okay, hang on. How many are y'all with your teams? Okay. So long as one member of your team can get on and y'all can come around people that have it on, we can get started. Because after 5 minutes, it'll reset and let you start logging back in again, okay?
All right, everybody's...
I should have just logged everyone on to begin with. All right. What we're going to have is, if you go underneath your all programs, underneath VMware, you're going to have a client called vSphere Client. You'll go ahead and click on that. Now it's going to bring up a little dialog box. Let me just close out of mine. It's going to bring up a box that looks like this. So for your IP address in there, it's going to be vc.cyber.rose.edu.
All right, go ahead and disconnect from the wireless, please.
Only 4 computers are up.
Where's our cable?
Feller up? Can y'all see Feller up? Can you see on this one? Or is it It's also going to be up there, so if you can't see on these, you can actually watch what I'm going to do for this first part. By the competition, I'll make sure everyone has their team can log into one computer, okay? Okay, you're on your student. Can a couple of these guys come back there and look with you? And then before you.
One time we signed in, it was only
The username, password.
you typed it in, you told me to lock it.
Y'all just sit up here.
Log in.
So by the time.
Just don't screw that when I'm testing first. Y'all can see.
Initially.
Can't unlock.
What happened is, let me just. Oh, let's do it on the other one. Everyone's right here. Okay. That way they can, at least someone on every row can log in and see it. Let me know when everyone can get to this screen right here.
All right. Are you back on the wireless now? Go ahead and get back on the wireless.
Is that the website he's at right now? The HTTPS?
Don't worry about that. I'm just streaming the Google Plus Hangout.
Oh, okay.
So that's on the screen. And have you installed yet?
Yeah, I changed the install thing.
Yes.
Is that what he put?
So I'm gonna
No.
pop that out.
Cyber Patriot?
No, I went there.
So everyone got to this vSphere string now? Is
So that's
that
the
a
but then it's vc.cyber.rose.edu. And the username for us. Have you spent vSphere on your machine? Okay.
Okay.
Let's browse to this drive.
Now I'm going to write up some teams here for you to log in to see your specific VM images. And what we'll do,
VC.
I'm going to start with CP dash, and then I'm always going to end with an RSC, or dash RSC.
Cyber.
Okay?
No,
So Robert is all one word.
.rose.edu.
You have mid-del.
go back to computer video that you popped up.
Right? Mid-del V and mid-del JV.
Like E or something.
Yeah.
Then we have Pat Norman 1. Pat Norman 2.
Go to Cyber Patriot.
And when you get to this, after you log in, you're going to click ignore. I just need to get in here real quick and figure out what I named everyone else.
Then cancel it.
Because I only did this 2 days ago, so bear with me for a moment.
Copy to your hard drive.
I guess it would help if I put in my right password now, wouldn't it?
Oh, okay.
Right click.
Right click.
Go back to your C drive right here. Actually, just go to your desktop right here. Right, here's all.
Okay. Y'all will go ahead and log in your
I think it's in a mode.
I'll do that. It'll be CP-Choctaw-RSC.
Now go ahead and run it.
No. It'll be CP. Y'all are all part of
This,
Okay. Now,
this is, I would,
now you,
know.
are you with Mid-Del?
Yeah, I want to.
Okay. They'll log in. Right now, I just want you to each log into one because we're not going to be in the
Or
I just want to be able to log in. Yes.
CP-Buckley.R-RSC, just like this. That's your username.
Cat Norman 1 Cat Norman 2 dash RSC. No. Details all one word.
Or RSC, sorry.
That's what's flowing in.
It's CP-Cap Norman-RSC.
Cancel it for now.
Cap Norman 1-RSC. Yes. Just wait. Okay. Is everyone there in vSphere? Password is, oh. That would be kind of helpful, wouldn't it? It's the same as this one, password 1. Thank y'all for bringing it to my attention. I feel really stupid now.
No. Left click on the plus.
Yes, sir. Ignore it. Password 1 with a capital P. So everyone should be,
It's going to take a sec.
when y'all get in, you're going to come to this screen right here.
Do you want a cold breakfast for that?
Okay, I'll add you just a second. The lady right there. All right. Everyone up?
Just 2 softball games today.
Okay. Everyone got to this screen, and what we're going to do is we're going to click on VMs and templates. And underneath vCenter, Rose Labs, Cyber Patriot Training, Teams, you will have whatever team you logged in under. If I'm going to an instructor for week 1, and what you're going to do is you're going to right-click on Win701. It's going to be underneath your non-scored images for practice.
All lowercase. Or
Yes, sir.
can you
Which team are you? What's wrong? Oh, okay.
type of password? Capital P and then all lowercase. Is it -1 or just 1?
All right. Well, that makes sense.
The Army just opened AOC or class. Oh, cyber.
I'll fix that problem real quick for everyone. Hang on for just a second. I'm about to get y'all's Windows 7. Hang on. I'm getting it right now for him, Sean. It's going to take me approximately 5 minutes to get this done. So, Kurt, hang on for just a minute while I'm doing this. It sure is fun. You do it this way?
VCD or whatever. I actually got nice with VMware too much.
It's just a little thing to help us clone things a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Little Perl script.
So I know if I do VM stuff, it's gonna be like on the local computer and there's a local virtual box. So I use VM Manage, which is just as easy to do or stuff like that.
Kurt, you should have your image in there now.
Yeah. That each week we're going to be going through the operating system. The competition you can have with operating system.
Now you should have it from several Patriot down if you want to take a look. Okay, everyone, we're back to where we should be. Under your teams now, you should have a Windows 7 image. Win7_0 whatever. Y'all see it? Okay. What you're going to have to do you'll right click on it, go to power on, go back to it again, and then right click on it and go to open console. Now it's going to take it a minute. Right click on Windows 7_01 or _0 whatever. Power on. Then you go back to that same thing, right click on it and go down to open console, which is the fourth thing down, and then it'll bring up your little VM window. Right. And then what I did was I maximized it here by hitting Control-Alt-Enter. It will expand it so you'll have the whole screen up here. Is everyone with me? Carter, y'all get over there? Carter, y'all okay out there? Okay. All right. Everyone there? Y'all not?
We've got once you start your computer to apply these changes,
Just restart later. All right. Everyone good? All right. Yes.
Since everyone on my team is watching the same vSphere instance, all of us are controlling the exact same problem.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You only need to have one to control it. One of you can control it. The rest of you can watch on your local screen what I'm doing up here. All right. So what we're going to do is you can come up here to View, Control-Alt-Enter, or just hit it right here, and you're going to bring up your full Windows 7 virtual machine. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
All right. If everyone's here, we're going to go ahead and begin. Sorry, I've taken 42 minutes of your time to get this far, but that's why I built an extra hour into the day. Your competition is going to be really easy. All right. As with Cyber Patriot, y'all familiar with going to uscyberpatriot.org, right? Have y'all ever been there?
No.
Okay, I want to show you some things you're going to need to know. This is going to be what your particular coach and mentor is going to need to take you to, is uscyberpatriot.org. This is where you can get all your training specifically from Cyber Patriot. Okay? This tells you all about the program. It tells you how things work. It tells you the rules and everything underneath competition. You can go into the competition timeline. It'll tell you when we're doing the specific events. Now, the one thing I will tell you, we will not have, even though I sent it to all the coaches, we're not going to have it on October 25th because that is a competition weekend. Okay? So we won't be here on the 25th of October. So I will send all y'all an email to the coaches just to reinforce it and remind you a little bit later on, because I'm not going to be teaching you while you're doing competition because A, that's illegal for the competition, and B, it takes away from your competition time. Okay? If you want to know anything about the rules, they're right here. But training materials. This page is going to be very, very beneficial for you in your competition. You can use any, like I said earlier, you can use any open source or public entity for information on how to secure an operating system. Okay? I'm going to go through basic 40 or so controls this morning of different types of things you need to know to secure your operating system. Then during the competition, after we'll end our lecture, eat lunch, and then at the competition, you're going to have to go back and implement what I just talked about this morning. So, i.e., take notes. Okay? That's how you're going to learn to do this. Now, each week, I'm going to be adding a different operating system to the competition. So this week, you only have Windows 7. Next week, you will have Windows 7 and a Server 2008. The next week, I'll add Fedora or Ubuntu, maybe Cent. By the fifth week, you will have 7 different systems that you're going to be undergoing competition. And around that 5th week or so, I'm going to have my collegiate teams coming in red hatting you while you're doing this. You think it's funny? That's exactly how they do it at Nationals. I want to prepare you so that when you go to Nationals, you're being attacked while you're trying to protect your system. Now, I will be nice and have them only attack the target on those systems. Let's say, to rename your administrator account, they'll go add a 1 or a 2 to it, and you'll have to go back and check it. So you'll be continually checking it, and that develops your skill set of what you're going to need when you get into the field, because you need to continually always check for security. Okay, that's what it's about. We're also going to be talking about Cisco Packet Tracer a little bit later on. We have it in this room. I'm going to be teaching y'all how to do Cisco Packet Tracers. Now, by the end of this month, every team is supposed to be able to access the Cisco Networking Academy so that you can start getting and understanding packet tracers. So that's why I'm going to wait till after the end of this month. I'll bring in the Cisco part of it and teach you how to do subnetting, teach you how to do a lot of different things that you're going to need to know on the Cisco side of the house as well. Everyone okay and on board with that?
Sir.
All right. Now the training materials, one thing I'll tell you is when you're down here, if you go to these training modules, these will be very important to you today. Hint, hint, hint. When you're doing your competition. They'll also be very important. So all these are PowerPoints built into the web. So let's say we open up IT security. Now I'm not going to go over these like I did last year. These are what your coaches can go over with you. Okay? Basically terminology, definitions, what is security, things of that nature. I'm just scrolling through. Okay? And that's basically what your coaches can do. Now when we get into Windows security, this is where you need to pay very close attention. When they're talking about local firewall settings, security policy settings, users and groups, permissions and rights, these are things that you need to know specifically of what's going to go on. Your Action Center can give you a brief overview of what's going on in your system, and I'll show you that here in a minute. How many of you want to have a machine that has the firewall turned off? None of you, right? You want to be protected from outside attacks? This tells you what you need to do, right? Pretty self-explanatory, and it's right there in front of you. Easy stuff to get a hold of. So what happens in a competition if your firewall was disabled and you didn't know it? Well, you get penalized because you're not going to get that point because you didn't turn it on. Does that make sense? This tells you step by step on how to do it. This is open source information that the competition puts out. So you'll want to look at this information. I guarantee it. Okay? Windows Firewall. You can go in there and change your settings. It tells you how to change it. So if I say you need to have your FTP off, if you check it, that means they're on. So if you uncheck it, that means it's disabled or denied, so that traffic won't flow through. Does that make sense? File and printer sharing, remote assistance, remote desktop. You don't ever want to have remote desktop on unless you're in your private LAN in which it's part of group policy where they come in to fix your computer. Your inbound and outbound rules. Automatic updates is another big thing they like to turn off. Administrative tools, you're needing to go through all this. You see how these are very specific and pointing you to different applications, right? Now, enforce password history. What does it say your password history should be? Right. So if they tell you to set it to 5, guess what they're going to be looking for in your competition? At least 5. No, they want. Here's the thing with the competition. If they say set it to 5 and you put 6, which is at least 5, it's still wrong. They have a very specific control that they check. So here is your information that you need to know. Hint, hint, hint. You might want to pay attention to that during your competition today. All right. Does anyone have any questions on that? There are 8 modules. Password security. When we get into Unix here in a couple weeks, we'll be extensively talking about how to secure the Unix side, whether it be Fedora, whether it be Ubuntu, whether it be CentOS. We're going to go in there, and I'm going to teach you how to do those. Everyone okay with that? Like I said, by the end of this competition, the last 4 weeks of this competition, you're going to have a Windows Vista, a Windows 7, a Windows 8, a Windows 8.1. You're going to have Ubuntu, Fedora, and CentOS all going simultaneous, plus Cisco. And you will have 5 hours to do it. 8 different systems and being attacked at the same time. Crazy, isn't it? But if you learn it now, when you go to the state rounds and that pressure isn't there on you, and you've got all this, you've realized all this pressure. How many of you do better when you have that pressure and you understand how it's going, right? You freak out if you go to something and it's completely different. You've never done it before, right? So if we get you ready for nationals now, so when you go to state and then you'll pass state, you'll go to regionals because you already know all this. You get to regionals, you're ahead of every other team, but when they get to nationals, the only ones that are going to be really competition are the ones that have been there and trained like that. If they haven't trained like that in a year, it's brand new students, guess what? you're up better than they are, right? And that's my goal, is to make you the best teams possible. There are 3 middle school teams that get to go to DC this year for national competition. I'd like to see both of these teams. Both of these middle, or all 3, we have 3 different teams that could be made out of the middle school teams. I'd like to see all y'all make nationals. Blow every other state out of the water. That would be what I'd like to see. Will it happen? Who knows? Depends on how much you want to work on this, okay? But enough said about that. That's what you'll have on this. So for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to kind of cover over this operating system and show you where the different things are that you need to look at. Okay? Once we get that done, then we'll break for our lunch. And then when we come back from lunch, I'll break you into your teams, isolate you into different areas, and then y'all will do your competition. Okay? Now during your competition, hang on just a second. During the competition, no coach or mentor can answer any questions for you. That's real life competition. The only ones that can answer your questions are you, your group. And anything that you want to run against this system that would be from a, let's say you download malware bytes. Okay? No one can tell you to do that but your teammates. So that's how we're going to break it off. Mid-Del Varsity will be working together in Mid-Del Varsity. You only log into one vSphere and do it together, all right? Now, next week when you have 2 different operating systems, 2 different vSphere systems can be logged in through 2 different clients, and one can have the desktop OS and one can have the server OS, and you'd be working on them simultaneous. You kind of catch how I'm going with this? Then as you progress through the season, I think you can have 4. Is Johnny back in there? Johnny, is it they can only have 4 active or 5 active at a time during the competition on that team?
You can have 5 students that are actively competing.
Okay.
You can have 6 on the team, but 1's
right.
kind of a bench.
Right. Okay. I want to validate that. You can have 5 active images going at once, to where that if you have a specific person focused on that one image only, they're constantly going back over those set of controls, and they memorize those set of controls. How well is that person going to be beneficial to your team? Does that make sense? So I'm trying to give you some tricks and tips of the trade to help you progress.
There any issues?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, super.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to first talk to you, and we're going to go through, go into control panel. Y'all all know how to go into control panel, right? Y'all messed with your parents before, changing backgrounds, changing all sorts of stuff. In here, you want to make sure that you have it by either small or large icons so that you can get to a couple different important things. First off, we're going to go underneath the administrative tools area. Now, administrative tools gives you a lot of different tools that you can use to secure your system. The first one that we're going to do is the local security policy. All right. Now that we're in our local security policy, there's a couple things we need to look at. The 2 biggest areas are going to be your account policies and your local policies. Everyone with me? Anyone not? Okay, good. Under account policies, we have what we call the password policy. Now, this is the one that irritates everyone. The account will be locked out if you misdo 5 accounts or 5 attempts and whatnot. So let's talk about this. Password history. If I go here and I double-click on Enforce Password History, I can tell it to remember the last how many passwords. So what did it say? 5 passwords, right? Then we click Apply and OK. Now the last 5 passwords are memorized. Yes? Into what? Local security policy? You shouldn't be in policy editor. You should just be in local policy. All right. Next one, maximum password age. Now, depending on your business when you're out in the field, this could be a variety of different controls. But what they like to do here at Cyber Patriot, not 980 days, it'd be 90 days. Why? For a typical user, you want it to be 90 days. For an administrator, you want it to be every 30 days. Anyone want to know why we distinguish that? Simple. You as an end user, I don't care how long you're going to be able to log in. You know, within 90 days, I want you to change it so that you change 4 passwords every year. You start over the next year. Does that make sense? All right. As an administrator, I want you to change your password every 30 days because you have more privilege and more access than a typical user. Who do I want to hack if I'm going to hack a system? Do I want to hack an individual user or do I want an administrator account? You want an administrator account. That's why they say do it every 30 days. So in the event of Cyber Patriot, more than likely, unless they specify which one they want, try both 90 days and 30 days. Does it make sense? And typically they go by every 15 days, so it'll be 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, 75 days, and 90 days. So you can try those to see if it catches up on your screen, all right? Now, the scoring engine that you will see during your competition updates anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. So every 30 seconds to a minute, it will tell you if you got something right. So if you change one thing, wait for about a minute before you look to see if you got it right. Does that make sense? All right. Minimum password age. What is the minimum password age? What does that mean? In a nutshell, that means how many days from the past time that it got reset do they have to keep this password? That's what minimum password age is. According to Cyber Patriot, it needs to be 30 days. Pretty simple, right? Minimum password length. Well, this says 0 characters. That means I don't have to have a password, right? By default, best practices mean you need to have 8. Now we're coming more like to having a 12-digit long password, okay? But as far as the competition is concerned, you're looking for 8. Meet password complexity requirements. What does that mean? Anyone know? Yes. Uppercase, lowercase, special character, and a number. Okay, those 4 different areas. So we want it to have that complexity requirement, so we need to enable it, right? Everyone with me?
Sure.
Store passwords using a reversible encryption. Do not ever let your system do this. If I reverse encryption, what have I done? I put it back in clear text. What good does it do me to secure a system when I have my password stored in clear text? Well, I have people that have written it down. And so if we have a little bit of time today, if everyone finishes the competition early, I'll bring up my flash drive and I will show you one of my security audits that I just did, and y'all will be embarrassed to see how bad this place is. Okay, it's just ridiculous. So you want to make sure that that is disabled. Everyone following along with me, right? Okay. Now for coaches and parents and stuff, I will give you a link to if you've not gotten an email directly from me, I will give you add you onto my coach's email, and I send out information. I have a YouTube channel where this is going to be recorded to, so they will be able to come back and get this information. I will also put training materials out there for them, because then it's publicly available for anyone, so they can come in and use it during competition. I will also give you the answers of what I looked for that, like for week 1 competition. After the competition's done today, I will put out everything they should have gotten, so you can go back and look through the systems for these, all right? Everyone okay with that? All right. Now, let's talk about account lockout policy. Account lockout duration. Why is it not letting me set it? Okay. Account lockout duration. How long is the account going to be locked out in the event that the password reaches the minimum characteristics? Well, maybe that's why it's here. First off, what would be a good amount? 3? Well, you'd have to go back through that PowerPoint and see, okay? I'm just going to use 3. After 3 login, it will suggest that we have a 30-minute setting. All right? After this, I can come up here and say, no, I want it to be for 5 minutes. Now, if you set the duration, the reset account lockout will reset to the either or. So whatever you set for one will set for the other. Does that make sense? I just want to give you all that heads up so you're not confused. You'll see that error come up. So everyone okay with that? Audit policy. There are certain things that you need to audit. Now, how much time do you think a network administrator has to go look at logs a day? Sean, how many times have you ever gone to look at a log, period?
So when I was an incident responder, that was my job.
But after being an incident responder, how many times have you ever looked at a log?
If an incident comes up, it would be a large portion of
But that's right. But on a given day, you probably don't look at it unless an incident occurs. Okay? Now, does that mean don't audit anything? Absolutely not. There are certain things you want to audit. Account log-on events. Do I want to log every successful log-on attempt? You do? Why? You could do that. Log in. But think about this. Let's say you're Chesapeake and you have 15,000 employees. Every time they go to the bathroom, they log off and then they log back in. So you mean to me you're going to hire someone to go look at every single one of these and validate each one of these people that have logged into your computer are an employee?
Maybe like if there was valid log on in a time where there shouldn't be anybody logged on to the system.
And you could narrow your focus on that if you wanted to put a filter to it, yes. However, the best way to identify it is how many failures do you have? A, your log is going to be shorter, and if you see the same person repeatedly failing, you pick up the phone and call them. Are you trying to log in? No. What does that tell me automatically? I have someone that's trying to do a brute force attack into my system, especially if it's an administrator account. I had one time where I was looking at the logs for failures, and my name popped up 7 times in a row. I know I wasn't logging in. So what did that automatically tell me? So what did I do? I went and changed my password. So those are the kind of things you want to think about. So in this instance, what are we going to do? We want to look for failures. We can also look for the successes if we wanted to go spend a lot of time to do it. Account management. Directory service access. I want to see who does not get in and is trying to get into something they're not supposed to. That's why if you mark failure for directory services access, you can make sure that people aren't doing what they're not supposed to be doing. Log on events. Also, you can come over here to this explain and it will tell you what kind of things are. This setting determines whether the operating system audits each instance that a user is attempting to log on or log off this computer. This computer. Log off are generated and they're neither successful or no. Here gives you some ideas of what you need to do. Hint, hint, hint. So when you're trying to make your training notes, this tells you what you need to do. Okay? Policy change. I want to know if a policy changed. Right? I want to know if someone went through privileged mode. You kind of see how this is going, right? I want to audit system failures. And that's basically what you want to do for auditing. Now, we come over here to user rights assignments. Now this is something that where you can have a lot of fun with your parents. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but essentially, access credential manager is a trusted caller. You can come in here and you can add a user or group to it, or take someone away. So if your parents have John is your parent's name, and you see them logged in as John, you can remove them, and they were not going to be able to do that. Okay? I wouldn't encourage you to do that by any means, right, Jennifer?
Right.
She remembers that from Cyber Patriot. You know? This is where you can come and change a lot of different stuff for your parent. In competition, they can grade on this. So what I would suggest is I'm going to be trying to make a training site and put it out off of Rose State and giving out to the link to all the coaches and participants that participate here, so that that's a publicly available site for you to go and look at things and say by default, here's the kinds of groups and stuff that you have on there. So that's an easy way for you to go and identify if something's been changed, right? Correct?
Correct.
See, I'm just trying to help you out a little bit without breaking the law. Security options. By default, these two should be disabled. A guest account and an administrator account. Why do you want them defaulted to disabled? Number one, do I want just a blank administrator account out there on my system so someone can hack me? Absolutely not. Do I want a guest account out there that people can get into my system without me knowing? Absolutely not. So those are two accounts that you want to make sure of. Now, another big thing that I saw last year was this allow to be shut down without having a logon. Now, how many times have y'all gone into your desktop and down on the bottom right you have the big red power button? And you can turn off the computer without having to log in? You know that's a security problem? How many of you have thought about it? That is a security issue. So you can come on here and you can disable this to where that button doesn't show up, so they have to log in to turn off that computer. That tells me someone had permission to turn off that computer. Does that make sense? Then again, if I really wanted to turn off the computer myself, I'd just go and plug it and then plug it back in, but that's just me. Is everyone okay with that so far? Do what? Well, you unplug it, you plug it back in, you put your Hiram's boot disk in there, and then you change the administrator password, and I've just bypassed all their security.
I have a question on the administrator account.
Sure.
Before you disable that account, though, you need to make sure that you have an account.
That is correct. It won't let you anyway. Otherwise, you're kind of screwed. But we're going to begin to go on that for here in just a minute. So what I'm going to do at this time, I'm going to give you all a few minutes just to stand up and stretch out, and then about 5-minute break, and we'll be back. I'll be back about 11:15.
You're doing middle school?
Yeah.
So this is like, I think this is like a lot of information for them right now, and so.
Yeah, so he wants to break up to do the competition things today, and I think next week, the following weeks, we're actually going to teach you into the frameworks. This is the first time I'm doing it, so I just wanted to teach some kind of basic material. But I had planned to actually be at a lot lower level at first to talk a little bit to what's going on.
Yeah.
you know, so, yeah, I plan to bring it down a level.
Yeah, because I think this is just like, you know, a lot of them are very green, which I think is better to have a green kid than somebody who already thinks they know the system and they know their shortcuts and they don't know why they do it. And so I think that was good, but I think that some of this is they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't understand anything. And so I think what tools can I give them? I think websites and play something more at their level.
So, I mean, the slide deck actually does cover a lot of the different modules that's on the Patriot page. It actually does go into some basics about what cybersecurity is and sort of a lot of the terminology and methodology that's going on. And then the different modules that focus on different areas. So it breaks it down really well. So I think if you just had to spend just a little bit of time going through each module, and that information isn't too hard to at least on the intro to cybersecurity, it's probably good. But I can also try to find some resources.
I just try to think of something that's not going to discourage you, like this. I can see this. And because you know they're like at the age where they do it because they're told to do it, or they're told not to do it, so they don't do it.
And so the other thing here is, once again, this being my first year, I kind of wanted to see. Now that you mentioned that told me very want to. I'm kind of hoping to teach much towards learning the context, which is what a lot of this instruction seems like what the context wants me to do. So I plan on teaching this in a way like as to why you're doing it and you're interested in doing it, why the reason for changing these policies instead of just with the scoring engine.
Right. Well, like
the justification.
Yeah, that's why I was explaining to them. I mean, this is why because I don't think they understand this competition. They're thinking that they're going here to technology. They don't understand. Well, why didn't I have to do it? I was like, well, and me too. But you know, it's kind of like I know that they've done things because they're told that when they're student they don't have free access. They're locked out. They don't know it. That's what they found. So they maybe do it at home, but not in school. And so this is teaching them kind of like this is
what the competition wants out of it.
Yes, and so, but I know the writing down always lives on their side.
Once I'm about to this first slide, I thought I was bring it down.
Okay, because I didn't know how it's going to go forward from here and just get more difficult, and they had to have that free.
And I'm trying to look through the rules, and this is the first year that I'm middle school stuff. I'm trying to figure out what the middle school competitions are going to because I don't find it fair that sort of the high school level have the same sort of challenge.
Yeah, it's like a physician and a first year college. It's like I want to go into medicine, but then you have one who's already been. I think that's a huge amount of knowledge.
So I have some questions around the middle school stuff that I'm still trying to figure out.
I'm just trying to figure out how to break it down to them. It's like, I know that they won't do it if I say, the system of the earth. And this company wants to package. And they can get that. They're like, no, that's why I would not look at all my successes. Because in their mind, it's like, no, we want to enable everything. Everything's always turned on. So in school, they say, no, make sure this is always on, this is always on. So now we're teaching the opposite. And I don't think that they're catching it.
That's micro, right?
Yes, and they won't remember it. They won't remember it. So I'm trying to. But this is going. It's going fast for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, just going through sort of what he's doing, because today the competition is going to be the same scoring. And then the next time we get together, I'm going to suggest that middle school is started at 18 and the high school. And I'll try to find out more information about all the systems, all the controls, and try to get more details so I can focus on reasoning more.
Yeah, because I think if they have reasoning, and the thing about it is, like, I have one kid who's photographic, and one kid who's speed, she's testosterone, and I have the other two that kind of work in conjunction to make up their whole thickness. Yeah, so I thought that it was a good mix of kids, and I have one. So it'll be interesting. I want to see what they're together. And they are like little.
All righty.
Yeah, so just don't want to get too discouraged.
Okay.
I'll talk about it back around.
Wow, thanks.
After this.
Kurt, y'all still there?
I'm still getting used to it.
Is it just a middle school team and a high school team, or people just meet?
I already talked to your dad about it. Yeah. And afterwards, I'm going to get with him and give you all the information. No problem.
Infinity. There are people.
Okay.
Teams on a competition time.
I'm going to let you go over here.
So instead of letting them just do this as if it's a real competition,
Okay.
I'm going to
Yeah.
let them go through it and coach them.
We'll do the camp file.
Sorry?
I'll have you log in as camp file. Because there's a couple that are temporary there, and this family. You're going to go through all of them together.
Yeah, and that way some of them are struggling to figure out the concepts and the
Right, and that's what I said. I want you to have a little more time with them.
So I won't run it as a real competition. I'll just give you a heads up. That's,
Oh no!
I'm
I wasn't
not gonna
gonna
run that
have
as a
them do that. That's what my plan was anyway. So we're on board. When it comes to them, that's your area.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to step on any toes.
Oh, please, you're not gonna step on my toes, not unless you want to come in here and do this one. And then I'll go home. All right, everyone back? Kurt, can you unmute for just a second? Can you see that better?
Hello?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me make this full screen now and see. Is that better for you?
Not really, no.
Okay, that's what I have it on full screen on my end. Let me see if I can adjust one other thing real quick.
If you just share the application, would that be better for you?
Yeah, I'm going to try to share the application and see if that'll work. Hang on. Let's do this one. Is that better? Can you see that any better?
No, it's still small.
Try to change your resolution on your screen to 600 by 800 by 600.
Okay.
And I'll try it on mine too.
I can only go to 1024 by 768. So.
Okay, let me see what I can do here. Is that better? Is that better for you now?
One moment. No, it's still small.
Still small. I'm down to 800 by 600.
Yeah, it's just a smaller window. That's all. I think Google's doing that.
Who's doing that? Oh, Google.
I think Google's making it smaller for some reason. I don't know.
Are you using a newer Dell laptop?
Yeah, it's fairly new, 2 years old.
No, that wouldn't be that.
The new ones split pixels to try compute right now, and it makes things microscopic.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out if it was something different.
Yeah, because you show up full screen, but when you share your camera, you switch over to the application. It's just a smaller window within a window.
Yeah, because right there, that's. Oh, I see what. I see what you're saying. Let me see here. Yeah, that is real small, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing what you're seeing now.
Do you mind getting one more machine up?
Yeah, just set that up. Let's try this, and then as soon as I get done with that, then we'll work on it some more. All right, here we go. Is everyone there? Okay. Also, now what we're going to do is that we just went through the control panel to local security policy. We're going to go underneath here to services. Now, one thing I always do is I come over here and click on standard for the services. And we need to think of which ones we'll need to get rid of. So as you scroll down here, easiest way to do it is look up here to the startup. Which ones are starting? Okay, those are going to be the ones that are starting in your MS config. Hey, Devil. There's a gentleman in 213. His name is Stan. Go talk to him about everything. He's the one. 213. Yeah. One thing that you want to disable all the time is internet connection sharing. Why? Well, that's one way. How many of y'all remember IRC, or Internet Relay Chat? Okay. This is Internet Relay Chat was a security vulnerability. ICS allows you to share. Let's say you have a laptop and you want to connect into your desktop, and your desktop actually is the one that connects out to the internet. That's what internet connection sharing is. So basically, your machine could be a man in the middle. So you don't want to allow people to have internet connection sharing. Okay, that is a vulnerability. Another one of your stuff that you want to think about is remote access auto connection managers, or connection managers. Anything that will allow a remote access to your system needs to be disabled. Routing and remote access. Okay, you'll hear that terminology a lot. It's called RAS, or routing and remote access servers, and that will be on the servers, but it's the same thing on your local machine. Notice by default it's disabled. Why? Because you don't need routing and remote access on here. And some of the other things that you need to know. You're going to have SNMP. You don't want simple network management protocol running on your local machine. So you're going to want to remember to remove that. Now, do you want Security Center up and running? Anyone with me? Bueller? Y'all with me? Okay. Do you want Security System running or Security Center running? Yes, because that's what protects you. So what about let's see here. Universal plug and play. Do you want that running? No. You know why? What happens if I put a rubber ducky into your system? How many of y'all know what a rubber ducky is? I've got one too. I just don't know where it's at. I think it's at the house. Oh, you have one. You have one right there, huh? You better not plug that in my machine. Well, I don't care. That I've never logged in that machine, so you probably figure out who else is logged into it. I like to do inject.bin files. Jennifer, did we do that in Server Patriot this summer? I showed you all the rubber ducky. Plug it in, take an inject.bin file. I can email all sorts of stuff to my Gmail account from your computer without you ever knowing. All I got to do is just plug it in, let it work for a couple minutes, and run scripts in the background, and send it over. It's pretty neat. Okay? So when you're thinking about services, you need to go in here and look at the ones that are startup or the ones that say automatic. Okay? Those are your hints. If it is an automatic system, you want to make sure that it's running, okay? Any questions on services? So where do we locate the services and local security policy? Anyone remember? Yes. Control panel and administrative tools. That's one area of focus that you really need to be in line with.
Reloading.
You have a question over there, Kurt?
Cost for calling.
Kurt, did y'all have a question?
No, we're just rejoining right now. Sorry, we lost you.
Okay.
Hey, bud. Sir, all is well?
It's welcome.
Good. We're ready for you, Art.
Okay, I got just a couple more things to close and then we'll
Okay,
break.
let me say something before you do
Okay.
that. I mean, I can do that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. While they're working. Sure. And I just want to give you a heads up. All the machines here every single machine here is sold out. Yeah. So I'm not sure if Pepsi just didn't fill them up. I saw Pepsi got that way with the cart yesterday. Went through the middle of the mall. And I don't know where it went.
So your IT club is on
Sold them.
these guys?
Yeah.
You know what we ought to do is just let the Air Force Association buy the things from the IT. Let's see if we can do that.
Okay.
And that way we'll provide it up to everything.
Okay. And then what I'll do is we'll have it up here. I'll give you the receipt for it if you don't want to do that. And we'll say they're going to be. I'll give you the cost of what they would be what we would sell it for. And I'll say, okay, here's what the cost would be. It's still going to be cheaper than that.
But we still make sure the IT club makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. Because I was going to put in what we would do on that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. And I'll get you that on Monday, so we can. And I'll go and get all that stuff, and we'll have all the calculations and stuff. So, and then we can get coupons or whatever.
And all I need is just an invoice from you. You don't need to give me receipts. Just say 40 cans of soda, $100. Not that much.
That'd be a pretty good profit. Right? All right, we'll work on that. Thank you. All right, everyone. I'm going to go through a couple more quick things here, and then we're going to break for lunch. But before we break for lunch, after I get through this stuff, Mr. Grau is going to talk to you, and then he'll inform you of everything that's going on, and then we'll break for lunch. Then when we come back from lunch, I'll have the competition ready, and then we'll break you into your groups into the different locations. Sean's going to take, we have a lot of middle schoolers here today, so he's going to take them over into here and work with them in that room. And then so we can break into high school teams to your area, and we'll work on that. All right? Cool deal? All right. A couple other things you need to be look at. Number one thing Cyber Patriot really loves to do is to go and edit a host file. Anyone know what a host file is? A host file is the file that's basically it's the old way of doing DNS, or domain name service. And what it is the file that on your local desktop that will read an IP address and correlate it to a colloquial name, okay, or a URL. You take those two and you can say, okay, we're going to this IP address. So you've got to go look at it, and where it's located is C, Windows, System 32, drivers, etc. I know it's way down in the sublevel. And what we'll do, I'm going to bring it up here real quick for you so you can see it. I'm going to open it up in TextPad. And all it is this is a host file.
Hey, Scott, we're not seeing that.
You're not seeing the host file? Okay. Just a second. I know what the problem is. I need to share my screen and not the application.
Oh.
Yeah, that's really there.
Clear.
There we go.
Okay. You see it now?
Yep,
okay.
Thank you.
Here's the host file. Now, down here in the host file, notice we have 127.0.0.1. That's what we call a loopback address in our network, and also the ::1. That's your IPv6 version of your loopback address, and they go to what we call localhost. What that allows me is if I'm in a web browser and I type in localhost in the address bar, it's going to bring up this IP address. Well, by default in Windows, when you have IIS running or Apache running, localhost is tied into 127.0.0.1. To make it easier for you, okay? So what you're seeing here is what we call a clean host file. That means there's nothing added to it. You see this little pound sign out here to the left, or y'all commonly refer to it as hashtags, right? This hashtag symbol, or the pound symbol, if there's nothing here and I write something out, now it's an unclean file. That means I put in something for that host. So let's say I come in here and go 84.250.65.32, tab over and say yahoo.com. Okay? Now that when I save this, if I type in yahoo.com, it's going to go to 84.250.65.32. Now, I'm not going to do it because I don't know where that number goes to. And for all I know, it might bring up a bad site, and we don't want to do that. But, you know, that's one way to really mess with your parents, too, is go in and edit this file and make everything go to google.com. Okay? Now that your parents are in here and I've told them how to do it, they know where to go. So, I'm taking it off and I'm going to save it. But that's really all that text file is. Is anyone okay with that? Everyone understand it? Okay. Now, we're going to go back. I probably should have done this earlier. We're going to be back here in the control panel area because a lot of things that you're going to do, I'm going to make this small so I can see it a little bit better. A lot of the stuff that you're going to do to administer and secure your system is all going to be in control panel. All right? So, we talked about firewall earlier, right? What did I say you needed to do? You need to make sure it's turned on or off, right? What happens if you see these? It's off. It's not good, right? Anything can come through. And turn it on and click OK. All right? Now from here, I could go into advanced settings and I can go in and choose which particular ports that I want on or off, which you're probably going to want to know to do. Like I said, that's all in those PowerPoint templates that I was showing you. So let's go back to all control panel items. Windows Update. Uh-oh. We got a problem, don't we? We haven't checked for the latest updates. Last time it was checked is in 2012. That's pretty old. So we can come in here, do our change of our settings. We can check updates. Now, I will tell you, there are going to be things that are hidden that need to be taken care of for you to look at. Different updates are going to need to be installed. You're going to have to figure out which ones they are. But if you do this and everything's up to date, you should get a couple of them. Maybe. We'll see. Any questions on updating? Pretty simple, right? You always keep your systems up to date, your antivirus up to date, your malware fights up to date, your spybot search and destroy up to date. All these different programs, you want to keep them up to date so that you're protecting your computer. We'll go back to control panel again. All right. We have two other things that you need to look at. User accounts. We have a user on here, right? But if I want to make sure I can manage my users, remember that administrator and guest account? What we can do, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Okay. That's the profiles. Profiles. Why is it not taking me where I need to go? Okay. Anyway, you can go in here and you can change the Yates account is off. We can turn it on in there. It's not bringing up what I wanted to show you. Let's see if I can. I'll come up and we'll talk about it right after break, lunch break. Now there's a specific place I want to show you. All right. So one other thing, like I talked about, you want to remove remote desktop, right? You don't want to allow someone in remote desktop. All you got to do is go Start, Computer. You go down here to Properties, Remote Settings. Takes you to Remote, and you don't want to allow connections. Pretty simple, right? Is there any questions on what I've taught you this morning about how to secure this system? No questions?
You guys have any questions?
Do y'all have any questions?
I thought he said computer.
You got it?
Don't get into the other.
Luckily, do y'all have any questions out there? All right.
We said no. So I asked them. They said no, sir. So.
Now, Kurt, I will email you or send you a link for this other thing, so y'all don't have to wait on us for lunch and whatnot.
Okay.
So I'll just get that to you via email on exactly through this thing that I've set up, where that step is that I missed after I figured out for them.
All right, great.
All right, well, we'll catch y'all next week then.
Okay. So are we going to do a competition today, or?
Yes. Y'all can go ahead and start your competition. Just do your competition image that's underneath there. Y'all can go ahead and start it.
Okay, great.
All righty?
All right, cool, Scott. Thanks.
Have a good one.